Hi, and welcome back to this free-for-all Friday edition of Focal Point on Thursday. Brian Fisher is my name. You are listening to Focal Point, the home of muscular Christianity on conservative talk radio, listening to ethanol-free radio. No additives, just straight high-octane fuel right here on Focal Point AFR Talk. There's a school here in Windham, New Hampshire that has banned Dodgeball. Dodgeball is out. Dodgeball is history. It has been banned by a 4-1 vote at a recent board meeting, voting to end dodgeball and other so-called, quote, human target activities. So dodgeball is now out. They got a quote here from a 6th grade student talking about dodgeball. I think they're really fun because they're just soft balls, so it doesn't hurt if it hits you. Speaking of education, costs for school administrators have soared 700% since 1950. The number of administrative positions in schools around the nation has increased by 700%. So the level of administrators rose at more than twice as fast as the number of students who were enrolled over the last 20 years. And the increases in public school employment since 1992 do not appear to have had any positive returns to students as measured by test scores and graduation rates. So they're increasing the number of administrators, and by definition, an administrator is not somebody that's in a classroom helping students learn to read and write and do arithmetic. So it's no wonder, despite the fact that they bulked up 700% increase since 1950, school scores are absolutely flatlined. And we've talked about this before, but in Texas, they've got a curriculum called C-Scope. It's used in 875 of the 1,028 school districts in the state, and the Texas Board of Education is now investigating the C-Scope. It has a lot of very pro-Islamic stuff in it, pro-communist stuff, and actually designed to indoctrinate students into a communistic political worldview. And finally, it's percolated up to the Texas Board of Education, and they are launching an investigation into this C-Scope. Criticisms include that C-Scope teaches that Allah is God and that C-Scope promotes communism. Now let's grab clip number 3, and we might want to take some calls on this. 888-589-8840. This is former New Jersey Governor Jim McGreevey, who came out as a homosexual famously in 2004. And here's what he has to say about gay marriage. And I would like to know if you see things the same way that Jim McGreevey does. Let's listen.
Gay marriage is going to happen, Chris. I think it's almost an inevitability. Not only when you look at the poll results you just put up on the screen, but when you talk to young people, I mean, this is a no-brainer. I mean, there's almost universal acceptance on college campuses. I think what you heard from Justice Kennedy was trying to determine or trying to create a path where he will allow the states to be opportunities for experimentation. But ultimately, I think the public and the Constitution will demand it. And I think this is a difficult time. What I would want as a gay person is full rights. I mean, the notion, as I think Justice Ginsburg referred to it as skim milk, we don't want a less than marriage. I mean, when you're born, you get a birth certificate. When I die, I'll get a death certificate. I don't want the state to impart a less than status in a union between two persons.
So that is former New Jersey Governor Jim McGreevey saying that, look, gay marriage is inevitable. It's going to be an inevitability. It's going to happen. There's nothing that can be done. You might as well lie back and enjoy it because it is coming. And I want to know if you agree with that assessment, if you believe that that's the case, that there's no point in even fighting this battle anymore. It's too late. We've lost. It's going to happen. There's not anything we can do about it. We might as just well run up the white flag of surrender, lie down, and just take it. 888-589-8840. If you'd like to weigh in on this or any other topic, let's go to Brian in Arkansas. Brian, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hey, young man, a couple of things. Number one, you mentioned HPV earlier.
Yes.
I've got intimate knowledge with that little nasty thing, and I'll tell you, one of the leading causes of cervical cancer in women
Yes.
is HPV, and the drug companies want to give our young girls a appeal to help them resist that, but they don't tell them why or how it's caused. And so, I would caution any parent out there of young girls that they need to know that is a killer for women, especially.
Yeah, and it can lead to infertility in women too. So it's a nasty little bug.
And then the McGreevy thing, I agree with him. I think it's accepted, and I truly think this is we're seeing the end of days for America anyway, right in front of us. It's kind of scary unless you're a Christian, and then of course you're like, hey, all right, Lord, let's go.
Well, let me ask you this, Brian. Do you think, if you think it's inevitable, do you think there's any point in us continuing to declare the truth and to speak the truth and to work on behalf of the truth, or should we just sort of cash in our chips and give up?
No, not at all. The Lord obviously wants us to fight for what's right, and we owe it to Him and His sacrifice to continue to spread the truth, regardless of who accepts it or declines it. Like the woman that called in the other day that you had the pretty lengthy conversation with, that she claimed to be a homosexual, and she was pretty upset, and she admitted to you, finally, you could tell she was very hesitant and didn't want to and was trying to get away from it, but she admitted that she had sinned and that what she was doing was not correct, and, that sort of thing. And so, they know what's right, what's wrong. They know that they're doing wrong, and that's their prerogative. God gave us the ability to choose, and thank Him for it.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely, we shouldn't give up. Otherwise, we should just load our guns and head, to wherever we want to go, and just have an all-out, free-for-all. So I don't think that's called for either.
All right, Brian. Well, listen, I appreciate that call, and I tell you what, I'm going to set up right now. We'll play this audio bite coming out of the break. And I appreciate the call from Brian. And by the way, on the HPV thing, I mentioned this before, but this is what a lot of people do not understand, is condoms are zero protection against the transmission of HPV because it's transmitted by skin-to-skin contact. So a lot of teens can think they're protected from this STI because they're using protection, and it provides zero protection whatsoever, and it's the leading cause of cervical cancer in women, and it can lead to infertility. So this is not something to be messing around with. And once again, you think about this for a second. If you have two individuals, and this is possible because it's done all the time, you have two individuals who both decide as a young man and a young woman that sex is for marriage. They reserve sex for marriage. They reserve themselves for marriage. Their first act of sexual intimacy is on their honeymoon, and they remain faithful to their partner for the rest of their lives. You know what? It is impossible for them to get an STI. They can't get it. They can't get a sexually transmitted infection.